Welcome to Florida TaxWatch Update. I'm Tony Carvajal, Executive Vice President here at Florida TaxWatch, and I wanted to share some recent research we just released that I think you'll find interesting about employment trends. I'm going to introduce you to two of our young researchers that have a lot to say about things that we're all wondering about. Over the last year, you've been reading Jonathan Guarine's reports on Beyond Pandemic, and you've noticed that he's been talking about some interesting trends. But this month, he posted a blog on our website, and you can find it at www.floridataxwatch.org. That's floridataxwatch.org. Go to the blogs. His paper there is called "Despite Positive Job Growth, People Are Quitting Jobs at Record Rate." Jonathan, welcome to the show. And I just want to have you update folks on something that we've been hearing about called the Great Resignation. What does that mean? Is it really a resignation?
Yeah. Hey, Tony, thanks for allowing us to join you today and talk a little bit about our research. So the Great Resignation is this ongoing economic trend that we're seeing in the economy where some 33 million US workers have quit since the spring of 2021. And when we look deeper into these numbers, we see that they're citing factors such as low pay, burnout, dissatisfaction, and overall economic uncertainty. But in reality, the Great Resignation isn't just about pure subtraction. So people aren't just leaving the workforce in droves. These people are going to higher paying jobs. They're trying to find industries that have a little less uncertainty in the economy. And they're also focused on sectors such as leisure and hospitality, retail, trade. And so sometimes you'll see it mentioned that it's not so much a great resignation, but more of a great renegotiation or a great reshuffling. And that provides a little bit more of an accurate depiction.
Especially here in Florida, we have a lot of great job opportunities for folks. That's the national picture. Do you have some details about the Florida picture? What does this look like here in our state?
Yeah, in terms of numbers, we've had about 2 million Florida workers quit since the spring of 2021. And it isn't broken down according to sector as it is at the national level, but we've seen evidence that most of this is also in more of those service industry jobs, such as leisure and hospitality. Quite interesting, we find that resignation rates are actually higher among mid-career workers. So people between the ages of 30 and 45, at least in the private sector, are leaving and quitting their jobs at higher rates than, say, younger employees. Now, in the long term, this has a lot of effect on an economy's productivity, mentorship, and also just knowledge sharing among these more experienced workers and newer employees. So that's something to keep watch, especially for Florida, as we're trying to think about how we move on from the pandemic. As we evaluated in our Beyond the Pandemic series, we have to consider that not all aspects of the workforce are adapting to the future challenges the same.
Jonathan, thank you so much. I know that the folks that are listening today have some insights, and I hope that they'll share with you, and they could reach us at floridataxwatch.org. Let me, though, switch for a moment to one of our newest researchers. Meg Cannan joined us recently, and she just jumped straight into this fray with you on asking a different type of question, and that is, where are the women? If you go to the blogs at floridataxwatch.org, you can see her working paper there. And Meg, thank you. Welcome to the team. Tell me what this all means. Where are the women, and how does this tie into what Jonathan was just telling us about?
Thank you, Tony, and it's great to be here today. So when we're looking at Florida women, right now, we don't have the deaggregated information when it comes to employment rates about how many women in Florida are in the workforce. So we rely on the current population survey, which measures women's labor force participation each month. When you compare the data from December 2020 to December 2021, Florida is missing 170,000 women. And so this has repercussions for Florida. In the context of the Great Resignation, it's going to exacerbate the turnover rate, and it also results in a loss of supply of potential workers. If you compare this data to the occupational groups with the highest vacancies, it's the same fields that heavily rely upon women. When you look at the top 4 vacancy occupational groups, in a typical year, 2 out of 3 of those jobs go to women. So it's interesting to look at this data and wonder if these two issues are interconnected. It also results in issues with earnings. When we have less women in the workforce, we have less people who might want to be making money. This can affect the grant economy because it limits the amount of spending they can do, but it can also affect individuals and families, and even potentially their ability to remain self-sufficient.
I think that 170,000 number really jumped out to me, and you're hitting a lot of key arguments. I love the working paper you have on the blogs, and I know you've invited people to tell you a little bit more about this. Both you and Jonathan are very open to receiving comments on these employment trends. And the folks that are listening, I'm encouraging you to reach out directly. Let me just end with this, Megs. So those are impressive data points. What are the lessons that we're learning? Are there policy implications or things we need to be thinking about?
Currently, we're very limited on the amount of Florida data of what Florida women are going through. However, nationwide, we have these surveys that are yelling the same sort of arguments of burnout and childcare being a resounding issue among the population. Now, I think Florida needs to recognize that it's important to value their women as citizens and as valuable workers, but also this can give us messages about the workforce at large. And I think it really ties into Jonathan's piece about their Great Resignation.
Some exciting stuff here. So here's the challenge for anybody who's listening today. Reach out to us and continue this conversation. We're looking at it as researchers, and we want to talk about how Florida's economy is growing, how this is going to impact policies and regulations, but we want your insights. So FloridaTaxWatch.org is where you can go and find the blogs that these two brilliant writers have put out there. They're looking for your comments. And Florida Tax Watch is your eyes and ears here in Tallahassee. We want to make sure that we share the information that you've got to give. Meg, Jonathan, thanks for the work that you're doing, and thanks for sharing today. We look forward to seeing how these papers progress.